Imagine yourself in a swimming pool, just sinking in the bottom, not knowing how to swim, just floating there, and you just see outside the water and nobody's around to save you. And then suddenly you see somebody walking up, and you're hoping that they save you as your eyes close slowly and your lungs fill up with water. All right. Now, with this in mind, I will be going through some CPR info, on why it's the positives and stuff like that, and the statistics behind CPR. Then a personal story of when my little sister swallowed when she was little and she was eating M&Ms with a peanut. And a story when my mother, she saved this little girl that was drowning at a motel thing because their parents weren't watching them correctly. And finally, where you can be able to find CPR training and stuff like that, and just why everything's important and stuff like that. The CPR stands for cardiopulmonary resuscitation. The amount of people that die every year that could have been saved from CPR was around 100,000 to 300,000 people, according to bcpr.org. Now, according to the NYS Department of Health, every 5 days a child dies from choking on food, and 6 million children get taken to the ER room. The ER room every year because of choking or drowning. And again, you could save these children by doing CPR or have some type of chance of doing so. CPR is the leading cause of death for children, and I think probably every parent should know, and it might come in handy just to, it's a 4-hour class, so I mean anybody could learn it. I mean, it's not that hard. Now the brain damage that it's probable is 4 to 6 minutes. Anything below 4 minutes and you resuscitate somebody, there's no brain damage whatsoever. But between the 4 to 6 minutes, they have a probable possibility of getting brain damage. From 6 to 10 minutes, you have more of a possibility, a higher possibility rate of getting brain damage, and then anything past 10 minutes, you're more likely to have brain damage or just death. Those are just the statistics behind CPR and stuff. My little sister, 1 year, I forgot what age she was, but I was probably way younger than she's 2 years, probably maybe I want to say 9, 10, maybe somewhere around there. But I still remember this. She was eating peanuts or something like that, and my mom, it was stuck in her throat. She got a peanut stuck in her throat because she didn't chew it all the way, and she was kind of young. So I mean, but even though with the age warning and stuff on there, she was still old enough to eat the peanuts. So my mom then she was just passed out on the floor, and my mom then did CPR, and the peanut came up far enough just for her to reach in there and just grab it and rip it out of her throat, basically. And after that, she took her to the hospital, and just to make sure everything's okay. And the doctors are just saying it's lucky that you knew CPR and stuff like that, and because if she didn't, my little sister would probably I wouldn't have one, you know. And just that alone, that just taught me to learn it and stuff, whatnot. And for my little sister, or my mom saving this little girl, basically, I think the parents of the little girl, I think her wife was like telling the father to watch the little girl in the pool while she was at the pool, and after that, I don't know what happened, but the father, he wasn't watching the kids, and apparently they didn't know CPR either. Like nobody around there. It was just like us, my family, and then the other family, and I guess the little girl was like drowning in the water, and my mom noticed it. And this is when I was younger as well, so it was just like I wasn't really paying attention, but my mom jumped in the pool and pulled the girl out of the water, and then did CPR at that time because she had water in her lungs and stuff, and then she just coughed it up. But after that, my mom went off on the parents because they weren't watching the kid, and she was really young. The little girl was really, really young. Like, just imagine, like, you're a little kid, like you have kids, and for some reason you just let them be out there in the pool for like 2 minutes, and they could just fall in and drown just because they don't know how to swim or anything like that. And just with that alone, along with what I already seen before in the past, like, was like one of the main things that what made me just think about that, like, just to know, like, it's good to know CPR and everything like that. After that, like, she was just, the parents were like scared for the kid, but just like the good thing that my mom was there and everything. And as for like where you can learn this, you could actually learn it here at in PE 235, or you could just go look up online and just find different programs, like just to find like different places where you can learn it. And it might cost you roughly around, I'm not sure about here because I didn't look at too much info on this, but when I went to go get it, it was like $65 for a book, and then like another $40 or $30 just to get in the class or somewhere around there, roughly. And that's about it. It was just like 4 hours long, and you just learn it. And yeah, it might save your kids or anybody else's lives, and just in general. All right, thank you.
Can you pull the door closed? Thank you. So Jacob, what did you think?
His introduction got my attention, but when he kind of mentioned what it was going to be, I was unsure whether it was persuasive or informative. I think we all kind of know CPR is like a good thing, so it's kind of hard to persuade us to do CPR, even though like we all think it, can save our lives. But other than that, he had a good preview. He had source citations. I didn't really see a conclusion, but he had some interesting stories, and that's about it.
All right. The visualization at the beginning is okay, but the transition to the topic was really awkward. It doesn't sound smooth, like you've connected it together. It's just we're jumping into the topic. Even though you've set up a visualization, it really doesn't flow very effectively. Your preview sounds like it's a setup of what the examples are rather than the claims that you want to develop. So you're really telling us, well, here's the emotional appeal I'm going to be making to you later, and I've got 2 of them. I'm going to tell you about those kinds of things instead of telling us why we need CPR, how it's going to benefit us in the long run, and how we can learn this for ourselves, which would be a pretty simple structure following the policy criteria that we talked about. you're really organizing it around your illustrations. You had some pretty good need statement at the beginning of the speech with some data about the number of people who die and some statistical information about the frequency with which kids expire and need CPR. Your language is just, you're not being very careful with the language. You need a little bit more planning and a lot more practice with the speech. At one point you said CPR is the leading cause of death for children, and I know that that's not what you meant. And I know that it's probably choking or it's probably something else that CPR would address, but the phrasing there is just awkward, and that happens in a lot of places. I get a lot of transition phrases. You just finish off sentences halfway with "and stuff" and "whatnot" or "whatever" and "like" and everything like that and everything. Instead of having complete sentences, we're supposed to fill in the blank spaces about what comes next. And you need to do more to talk to us. I know you're trying to keep it casual and you're doing it in an extemporaneous style, but there needs to be a little bit more planning so it sounds more complete rather than a first or second run-through of what you planned on doing for Persuasive speech. Because this is really what it sounds like. It sounds like this is your first practice on the speech instead of sounding like something that I've got this down, I know what I'm talking about, and now I'm going to try and convince an audience. It's like you've gathered us together for, okay, here's what I think I'm going to do for my speech. Listen to this and give me some advice on it. And you're just at the first step, and you need to be at the third or fourth step down the way. Like I said, the content early on was pretty good. Oh, sugar.